In a previous video, we discussed the different syntaxes of infix and postfix for doing sort of little numerical calculations. And in infix, you see it's operand, opcode operand, the piece of data, the action, and the other piece of data, so 2 plus 3. And then in postfix, it would be operand, opcode, 2, 3 plus. And we sort of showed at least one, somewhat cumbersome way of converting from infix to postfix. And we had this one long calculation here with 1, 2, 3 up to 9 and some operations between them. And now we want to show how to do the postfix calculation using a stack. But first we'll do the infix. So within infix, we've got to worry about the order of operations. So we sort of look for the parentheses and we can perform those first. So I can sort of do a little bit in parallel and see I have to perform the 2 plus 3, the 5 plus 6, and the 7 plus 8, and get my 5 and 11 and 15. And then I can perform the 5 times 4. I can perform the 15 times 9. Then I can perform the 11 times 135. And finally, the 21 plus 1 and add up and finally get the 1506. Okay. Now, here is, I don't think this website exists anymore, but I have these screen captures from before, so I'll step through them and then I'll show a calculator that I made, but it's sort of limited in that it only does addition and multiplication. Okay, so here is this old thing, and it was, it's got this politically incorrect name of Polish. This postfix used to sometimes be called reverse Polish notation. But it is the way hardware works. And back in the day, I'm old enough, this was how you had to enter data in a calculator to get it to calculate. Okay. So anyway, we have this long expression. In a previous video, we got that same expression we just showed in infix. We got it into this calculation of postfix, and we're going to put it into the stack. And a stack has this basic actions of pushing and popping. And so we're going to walk through this calculation. And if we encounter a number, an operand, we are going to push it onto the stack. If we encounter an opcode, we are going to know that there's an action to perform. We are going to pop off, since it's an action that involves 2 pieces of data, we're going to pop off the 2 pieces of data, perform that action on those 2 pieces of data, get an answer, and push that answer onto the stack. All right, so here we go. So we encounter the 1. It is data. It's an operand. We pushed it on the stack. So we have a 1 on the stack. 2, data, push on the stack. We encounter the 3. It's data. We push it onto the stack. We encounter our first opcode, the plus. We are going to pop off the 3, pop off the 2, perform the addition of 3 plus 2, and get 5, and push that onto the stack. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to encounter 4. It's data, an operand. We push it onto the stack. We encounter the multiplication. Pop off the 4 or the 5, perform the multiplication, get 20, push the 20 onto the stack. And go move on to the next thing. The next thing is another opcode, another operation, another action. It is plus. I have 2 things on the stack. I'm going to pop them both off, perform the addition, get 21, and put that onto the stack. I'm next encountering the 5. It's data, an operand. I push. I encounter the 6. It's data. It's an operand. I push. I encounter a plus. I'm going to pop off the 6, pop off the 5, perform the operation of addition, get 11, push that 11 onto the stack. I encounter number 7. I push it onto the stack. I encounter another piece of data, 8. I push it onto the stack. I encounter the plus opcode. I'm going to pop off the 8, pop off the 7, perform the action of addition, get 15, push it onto the stack. 9 is data. I push onto the stack. I encounter next a multiplication, an opcode, an action. I'm going to pop off the 9 and the 15, perform the multiplication and put the answer onto the stack. I'm going to encounter the next thing on my postfix. It is another operation, another multiplication. I'm going to pop off the 135, pop off the 11, perform the multiplication, and push that result onto the stack. That's the 1485. And then I'm going to encounter the final thing in my postfix expression, the plus. It is, I'm going to pop off the 148. I'm going to pop off the 21. I'm going to perform the addition. I'm going to push that onto the stack, and then I'm done. I have my answer to my postfix evaluation. Okay. And then here is a site I made, and it keeps the history. So you put the expression in so let me escape this and come over here. So I've entered that same expression here. And so I've entered my postfix expression. I'm going to say I'm going to enter it. It sort of puts it all out into this sort of history. And then I'm going to start stepping through. So the 1 went on the stack, the 2 went on the stack, the 3 went on the stack. Operation. So the 2 and the 3 came off. I performed the addition. 5, 4 on, multiply, add, push data, perform operation, push data, perform operation, push data, perform operation, perform operation, perform operation. Okay, so same thing, just this is sort of lays out the whole history, if you will, and some references I had originally. All right, so that is it for this one, just using a stack and its LIFO protocol, pushing and popping to evaluate a postfix expression. So as you walk through the expression, there were no parentheses. We didn't have to figure out what we did first once we're in postfix. All that's been determined. And when we encounter data that we're not ready to, when we're encountering data and we're not ready to act yet, then it just gets pushed onto the stack. And then when we encounter an operation, we don't have to worry that is there some other operation that should come first. If we are in proper postfix, when we encounter an operation, it is the operation we should be performing next. And so we pop off the 2 pieces of data. They should be the correct pieces of data for this action, perform the action, and put that result onto the stack. So this is all taken care of by getting into postfix in the first place. All right, that's it for this one. Thanks for your attention.